Now, moving to Colorado can feel overwhelming. Everything feels like it has to happen so fast. Maybe you're moving for work, or maybe your current home is already under contract, or maybe you've only got a few days in Colorado to decide where you want to live. So most buyers, they think, let's see as many homes as possible. And well, I don't. In fact, whenever possible, I don't recommend touring homes on day one. Now, I know that probably sounds backwards, but here's why. Before you can decide which home is right for you, you first need to understand which community feels right. That's why, whenever possible, I like to spend that first day exploring the communities and neighborhoods that you've identified as potential fits. We'll drive through the areas that you're considering. We talk about your commute. We stop at local parks, restaurants, shopping areas, and places that fit your lifestyle. We're not necessarily looking at houses. We're figuring out where you want to build your life. Because it's one thing to love a house, and it's another thing to love where you live. And once you've experienced the communities, touring homes becomes much more meaningful because you're evaluating homes and neighborhoods that you've already connected with. And if you've watched my previous video in this relocation roadmap series, you already know why I recommend that approach. And today I want to show you what happens next, how I structure the actual house hunting portion of your trip so that you can make confident decisions, avoid feeling overwhelmed, and ultimately find the right home. Because the goal isn't to move faster, the goal is to make better decisions. Now, one of the questions I get asked all the time is, how many homes should we see? And the truth is, there isn't a magic number. By the time you're ready to tour homes, we've already done the planning. We've had our strategy session. We've talked about your goals, your lifestyle, your commute, your budget, and the communities that best fit what you're looking for. So the number of homes we see, well, that depends on a few things. How long you'll be in Colorado, how many communities you're exploring, and how quickly you begin narrowing down what feels like the right fit. Success isn't measured by how many homes you've toured. In fact, if you've watched the previous video, you know that sometimes the smartest house hunting day is the one where you don't tour a single home. It's measured by how confident you feel when the trip is over. And by lunchtime, when you're touring homes, you have seen a lot. Different floor plans, different neighborhoods, different possibilities. That's exactly why we take a pause. Yes, we'll grab some lunch, but we're not really taking a break from house hunting. We're taking time to evaluate. That's when I'll start to ask questions like, which homes are you still thinking about? Has anything surprised you? Has your favorite changed? Is there anything you've seen this morning that's changing what you thought you wanted? Sometimes those conversations simply confirm that we're on the right track. And while other times, they completely change the direction of the afternoon. I remember working with one couple who came to Colorado convinced that they wanted a newer home. That's what they had envisioned from everything that they had seen online. But after spending the morning touring homes, they kept talking about something completely different. It wasn't the newer finishes that they couldn't stop talking about. It was the mature trees, the larger backyards, the established neighborhoods. Those were the homes we were seeing in Lakewood, not the newer communities in Arvada that they originally thought that they wanted. But by the end of the day, what they wanted hadn't changed because of a house. It changed because they realized what kind of lifestyle that they wanted to come home to. That's exactly why we take time to evaluate. Sometimes the right home isn't the one that you expected. It's the one that helps you realize what's really important. Every home gives us more clarity, and every conversation helps us make the next decision a little easier. And once we've narrowed the list down, I almost always recommend going back to your favorites. Now, a lot of buyers ask, wouldn't it be better to use that time to see even more homes? Well, usually, no. The second visit isn't about looking harder. It's about looking differently. The first time through, you're taking everything in. And the second time, well, you're paying attention to the drive. You're paying attention to the neighborhood, the natural light, the backyard, how the space actually feels. Sometimes that second visit can confirm that it's the right home. Other times, it helps you realize that maybe it isn't. Both outcomes are a win because every home that you eliminate brings you one step closer to the right one. Now, one thing that I've learned is that the decision process doesn't end when your plane takes off, because sometimes buyers get home and start thinking, wait, which kitchen was that? Which home had the bigger backyard? That's why we take detailed notes and videos throughout the tours. This way, when questions come up later, we can go back through everything together. My job isn't to just open doors, it's to help you make a confident decision, even after you've returned home. Now, remember what I said at the beginning? The goal isn't to move faster. The goal is to make better decisions. That's exactly what this process is designed to do. So, if you're planning to move to Colorado and you want someone to help you build a strategy, not just schedule a day full of showings, I would love the opportunity to help. And if you haven't watched the first 2 videos in this relocation roadmap series, I'll link the playlist here because each video builds on the last and will help you feel more prepared before you ever step foot in Colorado. Because at the end of the day, I don't want you leaving Colorado wondering if you saw enough homes. I want you leaving Colorado knowing you found the right home for you. And remember, life is short, live somewhere awesome, and be well. We'll see you next time.